and it was filmed in. Hey everybody, John with Vynyly here, and welcome to another 5 on Friday. Today, we are going to take a little journey back to 1983. We tend to spend a little bit of time in the 80s on this channel. I know. But today we're going to go back to 1983, and we're going to talk about this stone cold classic by Huey Lewis and the News called Sports. Songs you might know from sports. You absolutely know these songs. Heart of Rock and Roll, Heart and Soul, I Want a New Drug, Walking on a Thin Line, If This Is It. Really, really great stuff on here. This was their breakthrough album. This was their third album, and it kind of really broke through for them. So this is a little shot of the back cover here. So, join me for this 5 on Friday. Huey Lewis and the News, Sports. Here we go.
It's an LP.
It's one word, yes.
War and Peace.
The Nile.
Fridge.
The Nile.
Vanity Fair.
Yes,
Elbow.
The Nile.
Little Women.
The Nile.
No fish.
It is the Nile. The Nile.
It's one word.
Nile.
No, it's sports. Huey Lewis and the News, sports.
Sports, innit?
Number 1, the album cover here was photographed by Bennett Hall. It was taken in a bar called the 2 a.m. Club, which is located in Mill Valley, just north of San Francisco. And a couple things you'll notice on the cover. The TV at the upper left of the cover is showing Dwight Clark, San Francisco 49er Dwight Clark, making his famous diving catch. And you'll also notice the toilet seat guitar hanging above the bar. It's also on the back cover. The back cover shows bassist Mario Cipollina standing by himself with the band performing on the TV, as opposed to the front cover where the band's in the bar. Back cover, the band is on the TV without Mario. There are some very interesting outtakes from this session, which I'll show you, and they are on Bennett Hall's flickr page, so you can go there and take a look at those if you like. Number 2, for this album, the band felt a lot of pressure to record an album that was radio friendly and would produce some hits. This was their third album, and they had a pretty good hit with Do You Believe in Love from the prior album to this, called Picture This. That song was a pretty good hit, but they really felt the need. I mean, in 1983, radio was everything.
Sports was the record that really made it for us, obviously. And the reason is because it was a radio record, frankly. You know, radio was king in the late 70s, early 80s. Radio was king. CHR radio, which had been, I mean, there's a long story involved, but CHR, contemporary hit radio, was all the action in late 70s and early 80s. Even FM radio was programmed that way. And MTV, which started in 1980 or so, remember, their playlist exactly mirrored radio and records' playlist. So it was a radio world. You needed to fight for those top, used to be called top 40, but CHR was really like top 23. And if you were 23 on that list, you got like maybe 1 or 2 plays a day. But if you were 1, 2, or 3, you got like 8 or 9 plays. So the idea was to you had to have a hit single, or you weren't in business. There was no real FM radio. There was no jam band. There was no internet. You had to have a hit single. Radio was king. So we aimed all of our songs right at radio. We knew we needed a hit. We didn't know we were going to have 6 of them, but we aimed each song at radio, but each one stylistically a little different. That's why when I listen to Sports today, it sounds like a record of its time. It's a collection of singles.
Right.
And, and that's because we needed a hit or that we weren't going to be in business.
Number 3, the song Heart of Rock and Roll is kind of an upbeat song about how rock and roll is not dead, right? This was early 83. There's a lot of new wave stuff going on. And Huey Lewis, actually songwriters Johnny Kalla and Huey Lewis, wanted to make a statement about how rock and roll is still going. And it's not just concentrated in certain places like LA or New York. It was everywhere, including Cleveland, which is mentioned in the song. Now, the song did not get great reviews. However, it was nominated for Best Group Video at the MTV Music Awards for 1984. It was also nominated for a Grammy at the 27th Annual Grammy Awards. They performed the song at the ceremony. They eventually lost to Tina Turner's What's Love Got to Do With It. And in April 2009, Blender magazine listed this song as number 6 in its 50 worst songs ever. Now, we've done a video of some of the worst songs we've ever heard. I guarantee you, Heart of Rock and Roll is not number 6 on the list of 50 worst songs ever. I'll leave a link up here if you want to go check them out. One other little tidbit about Heart of Rock and Roll. The band had the album finished, but held it back. They didn't give it to Chrysalis right away because Chrysalis was in some turmoil and they weren't sure if the label was going to be able to support the album the way they knew it should be supported. So they held the recordings back, went on tour. When they came off tour, they said, we need to re-record Heart of Rock and Roll because we're playing it better now than we did when we recorded it. So they went back in the studio and re-recorded it prior to the album's release. Number 4, the song Heart and Soul is generally known to be a Huey Lewis and the News song, right? People know it as a Huey Lewis and the News song, but it's actually a cover. It initially was recorded by the band Exile. Now, you may say to yourself, where have I heard of the band Exile before? Well, Exile in 1978 was responsible for this little earworm. Number 5. So the song I Want a New Drug was written by Lewis in just a few minutes. Ended up reaching number 6 on the charts. And Lewis himself says that the song is not pro-drug or anti-drug. It's really more about how relationships can kind of feel like a drug. So it's really more of a relationship song. Now, after the Ghostbusters soundtrack was released by Ray Parker Jr., did the theme song for Ghostbusters, Lewis sued him and his record label for copyright infringement because the melody was so close. Turned out that they settled out of court, but it did come out later on that the record label did pay Lewis a settlement because there was copyright infringement. Meanwhile, after that, Ray Parker Jr. resued Huey Lewis for breaking confidentiality agreement in talking about it. But those melodies were so similar that the Ghostbusters theme legally did borrow from Huey Lewis' song, I Want a New Drug. If you're interested in framed copies of your favorite artists, your favorite albums, head over to vynyly.com, vynyly.com, and take a look at what we have over there. If we don't have what you're looking for, drop me a line. I'll try to find it for you. And that's it for another 5 on Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day.